Namaskar. So my first story is related to my professional life as a homeopath. It's also a story of surrender. In the 1990s, my family and I were living in the Chicago area, and I was studying to become a homeopath. And a few weekends every year, I would go to continuing education seminars. And there was one weekend when I was taking a weekend seminar from a teacher who was a world-renowned homeopath. However, he made it clear the first day that he didn't like me. It was subtle, but it was very clear to me that he didn't like me. This made me sad, but that didn't stop me from learning from him. I thought, well, he probably doesn't like me because I'm not a medical homeopath. I was not medically trained. I'm what in the United States they call a professional homeopath. That means I went to homeopathy training school, but I didn't go to medical school and I have no medical licensing. So I thought, well, he probably thinks that I'm not a serious homeopath because I don't have medical training or a medical license. So in my next sadhanas, I surrendered the situation to Baba and I surrendered my sadness to Baba in Guru Puja. And I should tell you that in class, most of the medical homeopaths and the doctors and students were using homeopathy software programs on their laptop computers. This is an innovation that happened in the late 80s, early 90s that enables homeopaths to find correct remedies for cases very quickly. However, I was not in a financial situation to afford a laptop computer yet and an expensive software program. So I had to find the remedies for cases the old fashioned way, using some very big, heavy books. So the next day in class, after I had surrendered the situation to Baba, by Baba's grace, I found the correct remedy for one of the cases in class that day very quickly. I raised my hand, and the teacher suggested that we wait a few minutes to give other students more time to find the correct remedy. Then, after a few minutes, he told me to go ahead and state the answer. I gave the answer, and he said it was correct. Then he asked me to explain to the class how I found the remedy so quickly. I explained that I had used a technique that he and many excellent homeopaths had used since Samuel Hahnemann, the founder of modern homeopathy. That was the technique of choosing the most characteristic symptoms in the case, so that the symptoms that were considered important were those that were strange or rare or peculiar, that truly individualized the case. The teacher was very pleased, and some of the doctors were amazed. And since that time, that teacher has always treated me with respect. At that time in class, I was sitting in back of a row of doctors, including one medical doctor who a few years later hired me to care for his homeopathic patients for a few weeks while he went on vacation. So surrendering to Baba brought me some unanticipated happy results in that situation. Thank you. My next story is a story of how I got back into music after many years. As a child, I had been trained in playing piano for many years, and as a young adult, I took up two other instruments, and I'd had some voice lessons, but then I felt like I didn't really have time to pursue music seriously. And some of you know that Mohan Kumar and I had a daughter with serious disabilities who died in 2014. And later in 2014, after the death of Annapurna, I wanted to get more serious about musical pursuits again. So I decided I wanted to get an auto harp because it was very easy to play. I didn't want something that was going to take years to learn. So that year, in conjunction with one of the local music festivals, there was going to be a silent auction of some musical items and musical instruments. Among the items, there was an auto harp. Every time the auto harp was put on display at a local event, I would check it out and hope that I might be able to buy it at the auction. So the night of the auction came. I went to the music festival. I went to the table where the auction should have been, and everything was gone. I asked one of the staff members, "Where's the auction?" And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but you're 1 hour late." Oh, I was so disappointed. And then the staff person said, "Well, what did you want from the auction?" I said, "I was hoping to buy the auto harp." And he said, "No one put in a bid for the auto harp. So you give me a reasonable bid and the auto harp is yours." So I suggested $50. He said, "Fine, the auto harp is yours." So I opened my purse, I pulled out my credit card, I was getting ready to pay for the auto harp, and he said, "Sorry, but we don't accept credit cards." And we said, "You can pay cash or you can write a check." And it was very awkward at that point for me to go home and get a checkbook or get cash. I didn't even know if I had $50 cash at home. So I was standing there trying to decide what to do. And standing also at the table nearby me was a lady that I didn't know. I found out later she was the wife of one of the musicians playing that night. And this lady turned to me and she said, "I'll write a check for $50 to the music festival. Here's my name and address. On Monday, you send me a check for $50 to reimburse me." I was totally amazed. This lady was a complete stranger to me, and she was going to pay for this auto harp for me. So all I could think of was Baba had really, really graced me, really wanted me to play music again. And he loves the dramatic Leela of all those disappointments finally ending in a very happy ending for me. So since then, I went on much more of a pursuit of music, much more of a musical journey. And eventually that musical journey led me to even enrolling in Prabhat Sangeet Academy and studying Prabhat Sangeet more seriously. So I'm very grateful to Baba for that opportunity. So thank you very much, and namaskar.